Hello and welcome to Snetterton in Norfolk for the first Great and British Dunlop Motorsport Festival of 2008. The vital ingredients for a great day of racing are here, be they the ultra-competitive Mini Challenge, the new-look Dunlop Sport Max Cup, or the super-powerful Radical UK Cup. Once again, the Great and British Dunlop Motorsport Festivals will be held at a host of top-class racing venues during the summer months. Circuits such as Donington Park, Rockingham Speedway and Brands Hatch. Snetterton in Norfolk is the setting for round one, just under 2 miles in length. It's very, very quick. Some very fast bends at the likes of Ritchie's, Sear and Coram, plus Revit, one of the longest straights found on any racetrack anywhere. The Mini Challenge is contested by two categories. There's the 133 brake horsepower club class cars and the more powerful 210 brake horsepower Works Cooper S cars. Great conditions for racing here at Snetterton. What promises to be a corking encounter on the front row, Arthur Forster. Just behind him is young gun Jack Stanford. When the lights go out, we're away. And we are away. Everyone away quick and cleanly, it would seem. And it's a real drag race down to the first turn at Ritchie's. A very quick set of turns. It's high gears all the way. Already cars on the grass at the back. But it's Martin Depper who leads. What a lead it is. And that only at the first turn. Here's the gap back to the less powerful club class cars. And we're riding with Keith Isaac, one of the favourites for honours this weekend. Oh, and there looked to be contact there, and I think there was, as Forster goes spinning backwards at Sear. He looks to be the only one in the dirt as everyone follows Depper. We're on board with Ant Scragg, a newcomer to the series, and he's jumped straight into the powerful Cooper S Mini, one of a handful of youngsters trying their hand at Mini Challenge. Well, down the Revit straight they come. Depper in car 30, still in control. Stanford in second place, trying to protect that second place from Jason Greatrex, who in turn is feeling the heat from Jake Packen's radiator in car 6. So a cracking start to this race. Depper, Stanford, Greatrex, Packen, Beaver in car 99, giving Packen something to think about. And Scragg in 5th place. And that is who we're with now as we drive along. And we're looking at Beaver on the right-hand side into Coram, and he's through. Packen drops down to 5th, and now Scragg thinks to himself, I want a piece of that. Here they come into Russell, the top three breaking away, and there's a real squabble breaking out for 4th place. A 32-wheel runaway freight train. 8 cars, nose to tail almost, then it's the club class cars. So lap 2 begins. Depper and Stanford, who won the first race of the weekend, in 2nd place. Greatrex on his own in 3rd. Beaver still tailed by Packen as they head into Ritchie's once more. A replay of the Arthur Forster incident. He and Packen look as if they just nudge each other. And just like in a proper car chase, it's Forster who's forced off. Dawn Boyd is in, her bonnet is up. In comes Graham Parsons and straight into the garage. So that's game over. And that'll be a big disappointment for him because he's one of the strongest in club this season. Well, Stanford is closing in on Depper, that's for sure. The race leader has lost some momentum somewhere, with the chasing two both closing in. Isaac still in control of club, and Roe Johnston trying to wrestle 2nd place back from Josh Waddington, having lost it at the end of lap 5. And despite my saying earlier they'd be possibly tripping each other up, well, that doesn't seem to be the case. They've kept Isaac very, very close. 6th place in yesterday's race for Roe Johnston, and if he keeps everything together here, then he'll be on for a much bigger reward this time around. In fact, maybe the biggest reward going, because there's still some way to go, and he's got to get past Waddington first. Backmarkers interview, Sarah Parsons of club, followed by Chris Mohan, and then Michelle Nixon. And like the chasing cavalry over the horizon come the Cooper S cars, still led by Martin Depper, with Stanford 2nd, Greatrex 3rd, Beaver, who's posted the fastest lap of the race so far, in 4th, and Packen is 5th. There's a bit of a gap back to 6th. Scragg still trying to plug the distance between himself and a top 5, which is starting to bunch. Here comes a move from Packen, does it? Not quite, it would seem, as Beaver does enough to persuade him to think again and slot back into 4th and 5th place, respectively. The slower cars are just ahead, and they had such an influence in yesterday's race. Will we see a repeat again today? Well, it's the same cast with Martin Depper and Jack Stanford, and Stanford is a lot closer to Depper at this point of the race than he was yesterday. Here's the back markers starting with Sarah Parsons, and there's someone just ahead of Depper as they approach turn 1 at Ritchie's. It didn't work in his favour yesterday, but they're both passed, and they'll be clear at Sear as well. The club class cars are right in with the top 6 Cooper S cars, the 6th of which is who we ride with now. And so far, no dramas. Oh, but I may have spoken too soon. And Scragg clearly unhappy, but in some respects you should maybe expect a bit of that with 2 cars differing so much in power. You wouldn't want to be Chris Moen right now, would you? He's right in the thick of it as Greatrex goes through. Acker now trying his hand as well as he looks to pass Beaver, and I think he's got him. Certainly has the inside line and takes 4th place as well. Beaver possibly hesitating, and Packen, well, just steals in ahead. Depper's gained a little ground on Stanford, and he should pass Parsons down the start-finish straight. Stanford should follow through as well, and Greatrex, but it may prove interesting for the likes of Packen, Beaver and Scragg, who may just hit the wrong cars at the wrong time. While the chase is on, Depper and Stanford have both made it through. Here's the front runners in club, still Keith Isaac, and he's pulling further and further away. Joel Rowe-Johnston second, and it's Aston Blake in car 79 who's third now, ahead of Josh Waddington. Oh, Waddington's not having any of it. He's looking to make a move at the bomb hole, and here he comes. And he's through, so Waddington takes 1 on the chin and then responds instantly. Now, how will Aston Blake respond to that? Developing into a 2-way fight at the front with Depper and Stanford, but look at this for third. Greatrex, Packen, Beaver and Scragg a lot closer now, so Sarah Parsons not upsetting things too much. That battle in club just won't go away though as they go into the Russell chicane before going back onto the centre straight, and Blake still looking for the gap, but it's just not appearing, so he may try his luck at the S's again. Meanwhile, the leading Cooper S drivers are not that far behind the leading club cars, and Scragg is a lot closer to the men in front of him than he has been for some while. Going up to complete another lap. There's Stuart Lyons with a problem, just 8 laps completed, and he's slow and going nowhere. Put a lot of effort into this season, especially after some very encouraging performances and results during his first year in Mini Challenge during 2007. So a disappointing race, and he failed to finish yesterday as well. Now look at this as the lead cars thunder down Revitt Straight, and Beaver and Packen alongside each other. And it looks like Beaver who will be the first into the S's as we watch from Anne Scragg's car. And Beaver does indeed get there first. Now, Scragg may well fancy a slice of that as well as he looks to take 5th place from Beaver. Oh, here he goes. Up the inside is it. Is there any room? They're side by side into the bomb hole. And where has he gone? Oh, Scragg has gone up, and he's moved up a place as well. Club is a lot more spread out than it was yesterday. Sarah Parsons was 7th in class yesterday and hoping to improve on that this time. Stanford still not quite close enough to Depper to have a go. And it could all be down to who can handle the pressure the most. Depper can't shake off Stanford, and Stanford can't pass Depper. The battle, though, still raging between Beaver and Scragg. Beaver, the top novice last year in his first season in the series, finishing 5th overall in Cooper S. No wins, but plenty of consistently high-scoring performances. And it's performances we're getting from both he and Scragg. So we're coming toward the S's once more. Stanford pulling wide, maybe looking to slingshot his way past Depper. Well, he's carrying the speed, but can't bridge the gap, it would seem. Oh, Depper goes wide, and this may just be the chance. It is. Depper's back on, but Stanford has the momentum, and he goes into the lead, a repeat almost of yesterday, although this time much earlier in the race. Scragg still unable to find his way past Beaver, and all the while the top 3 continue to pull away. And remember, it's Jack Stanford who leads, and here they are. Maximum possible speed from Stanford and Depper through Russell. And Depper must be thinking, oh no, not again, as they begin lap 14. And there's not long to go. Sarah Parsons, 17th overall and 7th in class. And barring any mishaps between now and the checkered flag, that is where she'll finish this race. Just 19 years of age and the only family representative following Father Graham's retirement. On board with Scragg, and it's Greatrex just ahead, and this is the battle for third. Packen is third, Beaver fourth. Scragg is now fifth as he passes Greatrex, or does he? As they're side by side out of Sear. This one is going all the way, and look at Beaver behind Packen just ahead. Stanford against Depper for the lead, and Depper looking to do to Stanford what Stanford did to him on the last lap yesterday, but there's no traffic to get involved. I mentioned pressure earlier, and who's feeling the most this time? Stanford defending or Depper trying to pass? Well, the youngster is defending magnificently, and it could be a last gasp move at Russell. Back with Scragg, who's fifth, ahead of Greatrex, and there's a scrap for third just ahead, and Beaver's giving it everything but unable to find that little space of tarmac that he needs. Here we go into Russell, and the line belongs to Stanford, and he's going to win a mini challenge race for the second time in 2 days, and for only the second time in his career. This is going to Scragg, so he found a gap. Something must have happened with Packen and Beaver. What a climax to the race, and it's Stanford who wins, but where did Scragg get third from? Amazing. And here we can see what happened with Scragg, Packen and Beaver in front. Who would have predicted this result going into the last lap? The Packen-Beaver squabble allowing Scragg to take third, Depper is second again, and for Stanford, it's a double celebration.
I unfortunately didn't go out on new tyres, so I had tyres that I already did a race on yesterday. So they were starting to go off towards the end, but I just kept my head down and just kept battling my way through, and got Martin, because I pushed him, well, he put pressure on him, pushed him wide coming out of underneath the bridge out the S's, and that just gave me an opportunity to just get past at the bomb hill.
Nearly, yeah, but Jack got me for the second time this weekend. But no, cracking driving. I made one mistake and he was on me to make it count. So again, he drove fabulously well, kept me honest. I'm just going to have to stop making mistakes, and third time lucky, hopefully.
Club class a little bit more straightforward. Good performances again, in particular Blake and Roe Johnston, who step onto the podium. But it's Isaac who records the win.
The start was a bit of a sort of free-for-all, and two of them got dropped back right to the outside of the pack, and after that it was just sort of, it wasn't easy because Joel was catching me from time to time, but at the end I could sort of take my foot off and just make sure I brought the car back home.
Well, we've just about got our breath back, and don't forget, there's plenty more racing still to come. The final mini challenge of the weekend, and it has been declared a wet race. Yet many drivers, including Martin Depper in car 30, have elected to go for dry tyres. 2 wins already for Jack Stanford. He starts on row 2. This race will be a rolling start with all the vehicles behind the safety car. The front row pairing again are the Forster Motorsport duo of Martin Depper and Arthur Forster. Into Russell they go, and as long as they stay together when the lights go out, after the safety car has gone in, then we'll be under race conditions. The view from inside Keith Isaac's Club Mini, 2 podiums already, including a win in the last race, and he's at the head of the queue of club cars for this one, and starts behind a Cooper S. Well, the lights are out, and we're away, and it's blood and thunder down toward turn 1. And it looks like Depper is going to show Forster, his teammate, the way around Ritchie's. But Stanford and Packen are in very close attendance. We've had the odd little skirmish at this point in the previous mini races. And we've got another as someone hurtles off the track. And that's young Josh Wellington, who's come into contact with someone, although he's still going and giving the suspension a thorough seeing to. And putting dirt on his tyres, yet he looks as if he's going to rejoin. And if he does, then he will be at the back of the field. Well, it's déjà vu for Depper as he leads down Revitt Straight on the opening lap for the 3rd time this weekend. Can he make it work in his favour, though, and record his first victory? The only thing that stopped him from doing so far is Jack Stanford, and he's in third place behind Forster, with Packen close behind in fourth, and these four already breaking away. We're on board with Ant Scragg down in around 10th place, so he's going to have to fight his way up the order. He's going to get in the top four again this weekend, as he has done in the previous two races. Someone else is off, and that's Rebecca Nuttall, a newcomer, not just to the series, but to motorsport racing as well. And this, of course, all part of the learning curve, as any driver will tell you. Over the line they go. Forster leads half a second ahead of Martin Dapper, the former champion. Took in a handful of rounds last year, but looks to be here for good in 2008. And if so, he needs a result in this one. Well, here's second place club class driver Keith Isaac. Behind him, Sarah Parsons, Michelle Nixon and Joel Rowe-Johnston. But ahead of him is Anthony Williams. So the two leading drivers in club are the two previous race winners this weekend. And if it stays like this, then both men will be very close to each other points-wise going into round two. Here's another mini-challenge newcomer, Nina Jo Atkinson, being followed by Aston Blake. So a good number of women involved this year, and of course the 2007 champion was Jenny Ryan. The battle at the front of club, and there's the difference between first and second at present. Williams leading Isaac through and out of the S's. Meanwhile, the leading Cooper S challengers are at Russell. No change in the order. Still Forster, Depper, Stanford and Packen. Now then, here's the scrap for third, and if Sarah Parsons can keep number 10, Michelle Nixon, at bay, it will be her first ever podium finish. The man just behind them, Joel Rowe-Johnston, already has one to his name. Into pit lane comes Ant Scragg, so just 5 laps completed. If this is terminal, then it's a disappointing end to his weekend, having scored good points in the opening 2 races. Well, he's going into the garage, so that is that as far as Scragg's race goes. The fight for third in club is ongoing. It's Nixon who's wrestled the place from Parsons, and Rowe-Johnston is through into fourth and applying the pressure and looking for the space to carry him through to third, but no quarter being given by Nixon, who herself, like Parsons, has yet to feature on a mini-challenge rostrum. Here goes Depper. He's bided his time for a couple of laps, but he's making his move into the S's and sweeps past Forster, who you wouldn't expect to try and defend too much in case he takes them both out of the race. So the two Forster Motorsport cars, and there's someone off at the back. That's a club car, and it's number 15, Chris Mowen, who's just been lapped